Russia says some of its troops involved in military drills near Ukraine are pulling back and returning to their bases after completing their exercises. The drills have been a significant factor in the crisis between Russia and Ukraine, which, along with Western nations, fear Moscow is planning an invasion. On Monday, the Kremlin suggested diplomacy is still possible in defusing the standoff.
And we've just been hearing from the chief spokesperson of the Russian Defense Ministry, Major General Igor Konashenkov, who has issued a statement saying that some of Russia's western and southern military units will be on their way back to their home bases upon completing a series of military maneuvers. The Major General also went on to say that there are other further units that are finishing up their military drills.
Yeah, well, the Dutch airline KLM has now stopped flying to Ukraine and stopped flying through its airspace. Germany's Lufthansa is considering doing the same. British Airways doesn't operate flights to Ukraine, but it does appear to be taking longer routes to avoid flying through Ukraine's airspace. Ukraine International Airlines, meanwhile, has said that some of its insurance companies have rescinded coverage for many of its aircraft and internal routes. The carrier has also had to send some of the planes which are on lease out of the country. Ukraine's government is trying to keep its airspace open for international and commercial use. On Sunday, it said it was allocating just under $600 million to cover some of the financial risk for airlines, insurance, and leasing companies.
Moving on, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan embarked on an official two-day visit to Abu Dhabi on Monday, the first of its kind in nearly a decade. The diplomatic visit, which aims to open a new page of bilateral ties between the two countries, comes as UAE bets on Old Foe to strengthen its trade relations with the world. Speaking at a news conference prior to the diplomatic tour, Erdogan said the visit would shape the friendship and brotherhood with UAE for the next 50 years. On the first day of the visit, Erdogan met Gulf states de facto ruler Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. This was their second meeting in 3 months. The first one was in November last year when Abu Dhabi's Crown Prince visited Ankara to sign accords worth billions of dollars.
French troops will remain mobilized in the Sahel region, but no longer in Mali. That's what Jean-Yves Le Drian, France's Foreign Affairs Minister, announced after a meeting with the European counterparts on Monday. The leaders discussed their country's future as they fight Islamist insurgents in Western Africa. Mounting tensions between French and Malian authorities triggered what French President Macron called the need for significant changes in his country's military presence. Le Drian deemed conditions were no longer met for French forces to continue fighting in Mali, but he insisted France would stand alongside other Sahelian nations. France is present in the Sahel region with military Operation Barkhane and is also part of the Takuba International Task Force.
Now, staying on with the story of how Canada's truckers' protest has gone global, a bus with Stop COVID Pass emblazoned on its side, a flag calling for peace, and a group of cars in a parking lot outside Brussels. The Freedom Convoy has marked its quiet entrance into Brussels, the home of the European Union. The latest stop for the movement against COVID-19 restrictions that started in Canada in focus is the European Union's digital COVID-19 pass. Now, a continent-wide digital pass that displays one's vaccination status. Belgium has been bracing for a convoy of protesters on Monday. The convoy, which started from France, was heading for Brussels, where they planned protest against the European Union's COVID-19 curbs. However, Brussels has banned motorized protests, setting up checkpoints along Belgium's borders.
Tonight, an urgent search underway after a small plane carrying 8 people crashed off the coast of North Carolina. The Coast Guard confirming late today that 3 debris fields have been found after a single-engine Pilatus PC-12, like this one, went down in the water about 4 miles off Drum Inlet Sunday. Authorities say the plane was seen behaving erratically on radar before vanishing from the screen. 4 of the 8 people feared dead, believed to be teenagers. Family friends confirm also on the plane North Carolina businessman and conservationist Hunter Parks. Business partner and friend Tom Harrison says Parks and the others were flying back from a weekend duck hunting trip for teens and veterans on Parks' private land in Hyde County.
Local officials have just confirmed at least 1 body has been recovered, but they haven't released the identity as the Coast Guard searches for those remaining victims. The NTSB is now part of this investigation.
A new front line for our battle-weary nurses.
What do you want? What do you want?
Frustrated by a system under strain, today they walked off the wards and onto Macquarie Street with a message. Finding strength in numbers, they gathered early at hospitals across Sydney and boarded buses for a coordinated incursion. 6,000 nurses undeterred by a last-minute order to call off the action.
A shocking revelation in the Durham probe of the Trump-Russia investigation. New filings allege that Hillary Clinton's campaign paid a tech company to infiltrate servers at Trump Tower and later inside the White House to try to create a Russian collusion narrative.